Good evening, everybody. Tess Crawley here, clinical and forensic psychologist and director of Dr. Tess Crawley and associate psychology practice. I am coming to you live tonight after, I've just seen some really amazing photos this week of some Year 12 graduation ceremonies and some fabulous glamour shots of some Year 12 leavers dinners and things like that. And I must say, it's really lovely to see all these young people having an amazing time at the end of their Year 12. And I'm just waiting for this to load on the laptop so that I can then share it into the Stigma Rebellion. So give me a minute while I get that sorted. Here we go. Hi, Mel. I'm going to tell you a story in a minute. You have to hold on to your hat. I have, in particular, I have to say a very special congratulations. Actually, I'm going to wait until I do that because I want to put this first into the Stigma Rebellion. Stigma Rebellion, there we go. I'm also going to pop this onto my personal page with a special shout out. I wonder if I can do a shout out. Yes, I can, to Luke and to Isabel. So let's see, there she is. Right, special congratulations going out live right this very second to Isabel, my next door neighbour who has just finished Year 12, and also to Luke, who is about to be my admin trainee extraordinaire, and he has also just finished Year 12, and I'm very excited for both you guys and very excited to see the photos on Facebook of you both celebrating. And I actually think you probably know each other. I think you're both at the same school. So congratulations to you both. When I finished Year 12, you know what, I can't remember anything about the stress of Year 12 exams. I can't remember sitting a Year 12 exam. Maybe I didn't. And I remember the party. I remember our last day of school. I remember our muck-up day, which was an incredibly fun day where we dressed up in 70s gear. My dear friend Ali, who's coming to visit me next week, she and I had some amazing ABBA-inspired outfits and some ridiculous shoes to go with those outfits. And I seem to recall there was a fair bit of throwing around of, was it shaving cream, Ali? I think it was shaving cream. There was some singing had in the theatre at the school. Hi, Chloe. And there was a lot of fun. There were a lot of tears. And the end of Year 12 was certainly the end of an era. But what I wanted to talk about today was two things about Year 12 to, I guess, as you guys are celebrating the end of your lessons, but, you know, embarking on this really intense period of your Year 12 exams, I really want you to remember that your results aren't the be-all and end-all. So bear with me 2 seconds. I just want to pop this into the meeting room. If you're not sure what the meeting room is, it is my closed community for all allied mental health professionals. I also have a closed community for psychology supervisors, and I think I have managed to share it in there already. And I have a closed community for rural mental health practitioners, as well, of course, as the very cool Stigma Rebellion. And I have already shared into my Stigma Rebellion. So I want to tell you my Year 12 story, and I'm going to tell you this story. I have already discussed this before, but it was way early, back in the olden days of my vlogging career. And this is the story of my Year 12. The reasons I wanted to share it again, just as you guys are about to face your exams, is twofold. One is the fact that you don't know, if this is you, if you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't really know either. And if your exam results aren't what you want them to be, that's okay too. Okay. The end of Year 12, it's not a cliff. No one's going to push you off it. If your exam results are fantastic, so be it. If they're mediocre, so be it. If they're abysmal, so be it. It's not the end of your life, it's the end of year 12. Okay, so try and keep that in perspective. So I'll tell you my year 12 story. So I spent all of my schooling going to a lot of different schools. Was moved around a lot as a kid, so I went to umpteen different schools, and I spent my final 2 years of schooling, so year 11 and 12, in a private school. So the rest of my schooling had been in public schools. I'm a big fan of the public education system, by the way. And I spent my last 2 years of schooling at Methodist Ladies College in Melbourne. So big shout out to all my friends from MLC, who I am still very fond of. And in the first year there, year 11, I discovered acting. Hi Valerie, how you going? I discovered art, and I discovered graphic design, and I discovered just how much I hated maths and just how much I hated science, which I'm very sad about now. I actually wish I'd loved maths and science at school. I think that if I had been able to develop some kind of relationship with maths and science, it would have made the rest of my career a little bit easier, because I'm actually not dumb when it comes to maths and science. I could do it, but I just didn't have the inspiration, whatever that might have been. It might have been the teachers, it might have been the books, it might have been the classroom environment. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't speak to me. So I discovered that I could drop maths and science. And as soon as I discovered I could drop maths and science, I did. Because in those days, you needed maths or a language to go on to university. So I had French and Japanese. So I was being greedy in the language department, but I didn't need maths because I had 2 languages. So I dropped maths and I dropped science. That was all great and exciting. So then all I did, my units were French, Japanese, graphic design, fine art, creative art, art history. Oh, and English, because I love books. And year 12 rolled around, and I dropped French at the end of year 11. I only needed 1 language. So I dropped French in favour of more art subjects. And so I did English, Japanese, and almost exclusively art subjects in year 12. And my dastardly plan, was to go to the National Gallery School in Melbourne. If you've ever been to the National Gallery of Victoria, you might know that there was a gallery school attached to, there is a school, it's part of the university now, attached to the back of the gallery, the National Gallery of Victoria, the one with the beautiful waterfall out the front. So that was my dastardly plan. I was just going to art myself to death until I got into the National Gallery School, and when I wasn't arting myself to death and raiding the art storeroom, I was in the throes of becoming an actor. So I was successful in securing my first lead role in year 12. We did The Crucible, and I played Abigail Williams, and I was doing graphic design at the same time, and I designed the poster for the play, and I had a fabulous time, absolutely fabulous time. In the background, there's a whole lot of family stuff going on. I had some stress-related conditions happening, and my back started to play up, and I ended up missing a lot of school. So in the end, the decision had to be made, because I had missed a lot of school, whether to repeat year 12 or drop Japanese, which was the subject that I was the most behind in. And because, of course, with a language, once you fall behind, it's very hard to catch up and reach the same level as the rest of the class. So it was either drop Japanese and just persist with my art subjects, what a shame, or repeat year 12. Yeah, right. So, of course, I guess you can figure out which my choice ended up being, what choice I made. So I finished year 12 with no pre-tertiaries whatsoever, a great collection of paintings that I had painted that in hindsight were not really very good, and fabulous memories of performing in the school play. And then I finished year 12 and there were kind of crickets, like, what do I do now? So when I finished year 12, I had no pre-tertiaries. I had no opportunity to go to university because I had no pre-tertiaries. In those days, the National Gallery School the gallery school attached to the National Gallery of Victoria. I was not attached to the university. Hi Meg, telling a story tonight. It was a standalone facility, and so I was able to apply to the National Gallery School, and I went to an interview and had to hire a truck because my paintings were also large, and lined my paintings up against the wall, and this collection of very stuffy looking individuals who did things like this. So tell me, what do you think your paintings are most inspired by? Very daunting for a 17-year-old. And one woman actually said, I remember, she said to me, would you say your art is more colourist or tonal in nature? And I said, I think it's more colourist, because it was very bright. Really? I would have said it was tonal. And then she didn't look at me again for the rest of the interview. It was terrible, terribly frightening. Anyway, I didn't get in. There was my dastardly plan, done and dusted. Hi, Alison, how you going? Give my love to Isabel, please. So my dastardly post-year 12 plan was gone. I didn't get into the gallery school. So I did get accepted into RMIT Art Teaching School. Now, RMIT back in those days was also not a university, it was a technical school. And I was offered a place to join their art teaching program, but I knew deep down that I didn't really want to be a teacher. So I ended up managing a gift shop and studying photography part-time at a very tiny little photography college in Melbourne, and studying acting part-time with a lovely acting teacher in her private little acting school, which was a great experience, and I certainly made some lifelong friends through that process. And I ended up, Isabel, congratulations and welcome, and thanks for being an inspiration for this little vlog tonight. So my year 12 ended up being no pre-tertiaries. My plan of what I was going to do post year 12 fell in a big fat heap on the floor, and I paddled around for a while in acting and painting and photography, and had my own little theatre school, and theatre company with two friends, and we put on plays, and it was brilliant and it was lovely, and I got to audition for Neighbours, didn't get a part, thank goodness, and and that was all really great. And then I decided to get serious with the acting, and I auditioned for NIDA and auditioned for the Victorian College of the Arts, and then I was due to audition for the Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts, which is where Heath Ledger and Naomi Watts studied, and got hit by a car, not badly, just but had sore knees. So I rang them and I said, I got hit by a car, I've got sore knees, I can't come in, can I do it tomorrow? And they just went, we're from Western Australia, no, you cannot do it tomorrow, it's today or nothing. And so that was the end of that dream as well. Poof, and off it went. So I paddled around, I had some fantastic experiences, and I'm very proud of my 18-year-old self for the things that I achieved, having my own theatre company and making my own work and living the passions that I lived. And I'm not too worried about the fact that I was 25 before I went to university, because it took me that long to figure out what I wanted to do. It took me that long to figure out how all the elements of the person that I am and the person that I was growing into, how that all fit together. So by the time I was 25, I had developed an interest in forensic science and forensic criminology, and in fact I wanted to study criminology, and decided to move to Tasmania to study. And at that time there was no criminology course, so I literally sat on the olden days. The University of Tasmania had a course, a unit handbook or unit guide, and it was as thick as a phone book, and I sat on the floor of my lounge room and read and read and read, soaking up all these amazing subjects that I could study. And I tossed up between psychology and law, not knowing I could have actually studied both. And in the end, psychology won. So I was 25, entered university as a mature entry student, which is a separate application process. And And then the rest, as they say, is history. I kept going. But by the time I got to university, I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew I wanted to do a PhD, and I knew that it was head down, bum up, study hard to get where I wanted to go. If I'd gone to university at 18, I would have had no idea. And I probably would have still had a great time, and there's nothing wrong with going to university for the experience, and in some ways I wish I'd had that experience. But I wouldn't swap the experiences that I did have when I wasn't studying. 18 to 25, I had some incredible experiences. I ended up working in the music industry and hanging out with all sorts of amazing individuals. Got some great photos that I don't remember being taken and things like that. I'm telling you the story because I really want you guys who are finishing year 12 just to know that it's okay if you don't really know what you want to do. It's okay if you're doing really well at school and people are saying, oh, you should do law, you should do medicine. It's okay if that's not what you want to do. It's okay. It doesn't matter. And it's okay if your exams don't go the way you want them to. It's not the end of the world. I don't have any memories of sitting year 12 exams because I probably didn't with the subjects I ended up doing. I have no memory whatsoever of that. The funny postscript, Methodist Ladies College, MLC, Melbourne, great school. If you're a girl, if you've got girls, if you live in Melbourne, send them to MLC, great school. However, after I finished year 12, they sent me a beautiful green folder, like it's not light leather vinyl, so a little folder. And inside was this beautiful crimped edged card that had my year 12 results on it. And on there was maths, biology, chemistry, and these great results, but they weren't my subjects, but had my name on it. To me, that's a little giggle from the history of having dropped those subjects as soon as I possibly could, but somehow magically getting amazing results for exams I never sat. Anyway, look, I hope that for those of you who are facing your year 12 exams at the moment, that my story in some way reassures you that it's okay. Whatever happens, it's okay, and it's all going to be okay. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining in. You might want to watch the rest of the story. So with your exams, make sure you look after yourself, eat well, drink lots of water, get plenty of rest, use a schedule for your study, timetable it out, plan ahead as best you can. But also make sure there's time for you. Make sure there's downtime so you can relax with your mates and still feel like you're a human being. And then once it's all over, have a really big party, and I'll be celebrating in your honour somewhere else. Have a great night tonight wherever you are. I hope this video has been helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you think it's helpful. And Isabel and Luke, please pass it on to your mates, that I hope that they'll take something away from this video as well, because you've got an amazing open map in front of you now. From the age of 6 or 7, you've had it very, very formulaic of, you'll go to school 5 days a week, and you'll have your 10 weeks of school holidays every year. Now it's wide open, and that can be really daunting, but it's a very exciting time too, and I'm excited for you all. So take care, have a great night, and see you again soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.